Good day, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to Pow Chat. I am your host for today, and my name is Ronnie Music. I'm sure some of you guys out there, you're like, where the hell is Nancy? Where is Nancy? Usually it's Nancy in front of the camera, and I'm behind the camera, and she's doing all this chat. However, we're doing what I call a big discussion. Nancy, I don't know whether we miss you or not. I'm sure myself and the guest we have on the show today is just equally as good to learn. The guest we have on the show today is Winnie Kitaka. Winnie Kitaka is an author. She has published a book called Empowering, a Ugandan author who's written a book for mothers to mothers, and we are extremely proud of this lovely young lady who's a mother herself. And as Ugandans, we are very proud of her. For people out there in Uganda, I want to let you know that we are us Ugandans here in the diaspora are doing something. We are producing, we are working, and we are now becoming entrepreneurs. And amongst us in the Ugandan community in the diaspora, we've got an author who would like to let herself introduce herself. Miss Winnie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Could you please tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm Winnie Kitaka, and it's an honor to be here this morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are. And a little bit about myself. I'm a mom. I'm a mother of four. My babies are 7, 4, 3, and 14 months. 3 girls, 1 boy. And as you said, I'm an author, and I have been working and training maternity nurses and working with mothers for, a little over 10 years now. Started off within my local church and started off working with mothers and advising mothers, and then later on trained to become a maternity nurse or a night nanny, and started working with mothers within the UK. And it's as a result of that work and meeting with mothers that I've been able to come up with the message that is enclosed within.
Right, okay, Winnie. The question I want to ask you is, you've got a very good book right here. What I'm going to ask you is, what inspired you to write this book? What was your main inspiration to write this book?
My main inspiration was being a Ugandan. I came to the UK when I was about 9 years old. So being brought up here, being brought up by a very strong, confident woman, my mother. And when I went to start to work with clients, one of the trends that I found, a lot of mothers raising their children. Mm-hmm. And so many times I would go in and some of these mothers, when it came to material stuff, they had that. And, they had the help, but they still lacked the confidence as mothers to be able to be mothers to their children. And coming from a background where my mother was a very strong, confident woman, I just found that really strange. So as I went about working, I changed my approach. So apart from just helping the mother show her how to change the baby's nappy or how to feed the baby, I went from the approach of going in and empowering the mother and telling her, look, you can do this. There are doubts right now, but you can do this. And then I also realized within my community that when I gave birth to my daughter, who's now 4 years old, I realized one day she's going to get married, right? And I thought some of the young people that I've seen, or some that I've grown up with, and some of the way they're being brought up, because I see their children, because we're growing up together now. And I thought, one of these days they're going to marry one of my babies. Okay. And so what can I do now that I can help to prepare my child and also other people's children, that maybe one of the empowered mothers' son or daughter will marry one of my kids. So I thought I need to do something now, because many times we feel like, there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah. That's life, get over it. But I disagree, and because of that, I thought I'll put my message down on a book and go around empowering mothers. Read this book. Help mothers. It's tough being a mom,
Yeah.
but there is help out there. And this book, my inspiration, when I look at my children, when I look at mothers, I love mothers. And just to be able to say to mothers, look, I know it's tough, but you know what? We can do this with a little help, with some tools in hand. This can be done. So my babies are my inspiration, definitely.
Fantastic. I mean, all parents are proud of their children. Well, we hope all parents are proud of their children. Obviously, you've given us a little gist of, what inspired you to write the book. You've got your children. The other question I want to ask is, what exactly is in the book?
Sure.
As in, what differences have you found? Say, for instance, obviously, you're a black lady, and obviously you've been working with your mothers. You've got Asians, you've got you've got black ladies, you've got white ladies. Just mothers. Put it in mothers. What message have you written in your book that maybe can relate to the different types?
Cultures.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that is so interesting, actually, that I have found there's one thing that regardless of where you come from, you can come from Mars as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You can come from the Antarctic.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I have found working with many different minorities, that one thing that puts us together on the same playing field is being a mom.
Yeah.
Because I have met mothers who are doing fantastic as far as their careers are concerned. So maybe, I don't know, she's a TV presenter maybe.
Yeah.
And I may not be able to relate at that level. But when all that is over and we sit down as mothers from all over the world, you could be in Uganda, you could be in wherever you are, there's something that brings us together. And what's that? Once you push that baby out, we can all sit there and talk about the pain of having a baby. When I was giving birth to my daughter number 2, this is what happened.
Yeah.
The mother, regardless of where she comes from, whether they have clean hospitals or they don't, she understands that pain. So this book is for every mother, regardless where you're from.
Okay.
And the message within that book is, look, it's tough, but you can do this.
You've been a Ugandan. You've got Ugandan. There's a Ugandan community, and do you find that in our community, you have mothers who are struggling to be mothers, and because of maybe it's culture or it's because of friends and family or fear of speaking out. Do you find that within our community, the Ugandan mothers come and approach you, or do you approach them, or how would you approach them? How would you take this message to them?
Yeah, within every community, mothers are finding it tough. So our community, the Ugandan community, is no exception.
Yeah.
Again, being within a community, I am approached by mothers because what I tend to do, I go around sometimes to churches within different community groups and meet with mothers, and they will approach you and they will ask questions and you'll be able to assist them. I also run workshops where mothers can come along and ask questions, things like, how do I make my baby sleep through the night? My baby's refusing to eat, what do I do? So
but what I'm trying to make it a bit more specific here. It's more for the Ugandan community. Do you find that, do you get people from that community coming to ask you? Because what we find that in our particular communities, we want to keep it within the family, and nobody wants to talk about things. They want to keep it within the family, and if you've got issues or you're going through, I don't know, it could be domestic abuse or whatever it is, they don't want to come out and say. Do you find that you've produced a book that empowers mothers? Do you find that our own people come and talk to you, or it's just a general thing, it's not just for our people?
It's not just for our people, but if you want to kind of specifically talk within the confines of our people, one of the things I found having a page on Facebook or being on Facebook is the messaging service. So I've had mothers, Ugandans, who are within the UK and some from abroad, and who have specifically come to me and asked questions. Again, as you said, within our community, everybody's don't say anything, don't shame the family, keep it in. And that's one of the most destructive things that has been for our community and for our children and for our youth, is because nobody wants to say anything. But then when it gets to a point whereby everybody sees it anyway.
Yeah.
That the damage is so much damage has already been done
Yeah.
because of the fear that don't say anything. But I've had, thankfully for social media and networks, is people can come and email you or message you without anybody knowing.
Yeah.
And I've been able to reach some of them via that way.
Obviously, you've spoken about. Thing is, because we're a Ugandan-based show, because we want to appeal more to our community because we just lack information.
Sure.
A lot of our people, will watch, stuff on Ben TV, however, or all these channels on Sky. However, there's nothing that is within the community where you can get information.
Sure.
Because most of us talk about a lot of things, and we say we want to do this, do that. However, there's nothing we're doing about it. I really, really recommend you for getting up, writing a book for mothers, and trying to empower, and trying to get a message from your perspective,
Sure.
and whatever research you've come across. The next question is, with the teenage pregnancy. England's got one of the highest teenage pregnancies in Europe. Do you find that mothers, you get mothers as young as 13, 13, 14, obviously young people are sexually active at a young age. Do you find that they're mothers now? Do you find that they come to you and you talk to them on how to be mothers and how to look after their children? Making sure that when their children grow up, they sort of learn from. I won't say mistakes, because having a child is a blessing, but learn from their past and history.
That's a very good question. And one of the things when I run my workshop, one of the things I say is, for your career to become whether a lawyer or an accountant, you went to university or to college to learn how to do that. For those of you who are married or planning to get married, when that time comes, you go and seek premarital counseling. But one of the things I said, when you become a mother or when you push that baby out, regardless of your age, there's no school that you go to and are told, okay, here we go, this is how to be a mother. But once that baby is pushed out, as you've mentioned, some of these girls are 13, 14.
Yeah.
You are expected to take care of this baby. But a 13-year-old child has no idea, let alone a 13. I have mothers who are older and have no idea how to be a mother. So in terms of these young girls reaching out, they have not that many yet because I'm just beginning out, but one of my next things to do within the next few months is for me to reach out to them and to go to organizations that are now having to either take these babies into foster care because the young girls have not been able to do it, is to go into such organizations and say, look, this is what I do. This is a workshop that I run, to go out there and teach these young girls. And some of them can also be coming from backgrounds where their mom didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah,
So,
I really want us to be a bit more specific. Simply, the only reason why is to be specific. You tend to target somebody or target something. The specificity I'm talking about is mainly our Ugandan community. Obviously, you've just started out. From the research you've done, or from what you've come up with, trying to empower mothers, do you find that the teenagers, the young girls who become pregnant at a young age, there's not the same with condone, we're just saying that, do you find that, what advice would you give them first of all? And if they would approach you, would you, obviously not tell them to go, but would you give them advice of things like, the next time use contraception, or, use this, use that, or how to bring your child up, it's just, and plus more in the Ugandan community, if you've not had much of that, maybe within the black community, because, we might come from Uganda, however, as black people, we do have similarities, especially within our cultures, and we tend to keep a lot of the issues in family, and we don't tend to sort of talk about them. Okay,
well, what advice would I give maybe to one that has not yet had the baby? Don't get pregnant. I remember when I was growing up, and one of the things that I am finding can I use the word strange or really intriguing? Is
Yeah, yes,
because
that's
when
yeah.
I was growing up, I mean,
Mm.
let alone falling pregnant, you know, that's a baby. But there's a lot of AIDS and all these STDs. What I find really intriguing, and my sister and I were talking about this the other day, is when we were growing up, we were told that everybody has AIDS but me. I remember I came here when I was 9 years old. So in Uganda, there was a thing that went around that everybody has AIDS but you. And that stayed with me throughout my life, that even if you are going to go out and sleep around, a condom is not negotiable. You you girls used it. But what I'm finding now is with young girls who are becoming pregnant. There was one I spoke to, that, in fact, now you mention it, it comes to mind. A young girl, she's not that young, but she's still a young, maybe 18 or, and above. And she said to me, she just found out she's pregnant. So I said to her, okay, do you know how people become pregnant? Yeah, of course I know how people become pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you want to have a baby? Well, of course not. I've got my whole life ahead of me. Okay, so if you knew how people get pregnant, you've got your whole life ahead of you. Why did you become pregnant? Well, I said, okay, let me be specific. Did you not wear a condom when you slept with this boy?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I know, but sometimes it's like you're in the heat of the moment and you just...
Just do it, yeah. Okay.
And so as far as she was concerned, it was like, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
And that was the attitude. So for girls who have not yet had the baby, and this is where mothers come in. As mothers before, I mean, again, within the Ugandan community, our mothers don't come out and say, right, we're going to have, some of them, many of them, we're going to have this conversation about sex and this is what happens, and because everything is, don't say anything, or they leave it to the sengas. And the sengas come in just before you get married.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I really believe sengas need to come in before you get married, you know,
Yeah.
like way before. Because this is what the
Yeah,
things
but-
are changing.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
The reality of especially living in the UK, people are having this sexually active at a young age, or this sexually active in it once you've gone past the age of 16,
Yeah.
which is the legal age in this country. And when it comes to things like, I mean, you know, you're talking about marriage. Marriage it's a good institute to bring up children. However, there are those who might not believe in marriage, and they just want to have a relationship with their partner and just bring up their children. The other question is, obviously within our background and our Ugandan culture, do you find that our parents, I mean, I'll go back to my parents. My dad, you know, would say something like, "If you have sex, you're gonna die." I'm like, okay, maybe I should try it. You know, do you find that we're very, very not shy, but as I said, saying guys come and talk about this. But do you find that we need to come out a bit more and talk to our children? Because you've got the internet, you've got TV, you've got adverts, send them sex everywhere you go. Obviously, sex is not the only thing that our children come across. However, it's a very big part of their life.
Sure.
And do you find that we need to be a bit more confident, you know, to talk to our children rather than let other people do it, or just learn from the internet, for instance?
Absolutely, because there's so much twisted information out there.
Yeah.
That if you don't tell your child what the real thing is, your child is going to get their education of sex or whatever the subject is from some of these different mediums that are out there. And as a community, I would beg as a community, you need to talk to your children. Because when I came here, or those, regardless of where they are, because now in Uganda, I mean, sometimes I think, oh, they've got that too. I mean, I haven't been there for a while, but they're current. They know what's going on. They have the phones. They have everything. They have access to a lot more things. So the old-fashioned way of parenting sometimes needs to be adapted to accommodate the way life is changing.
Yeah.
And I would beg my Ugandan mothers and fathers is this ideal of wishing, I'm not saying about it, and hoping somebody else will say it, or hoping, oh, little more doesn't do that. No, not my child.
Yeah.
Reality check, your child is in your house, in her bedroom, in the house that you're paying for. They're doing it there.
Yeah.
And so as a community, we need to wake up and begin to take back the responsibility as parents and as a community and begin to talk to our young people. Because our young people, I mean, I hear stuff that sometimes makes me ashamed to be associated as a Ugandan, because I've had things where other communities say, well, it's easy to get a Ugandan girl. Just buy her a box of matoke. And I find that so degrading. And I'm saying to mothers that come on, these are our baby girls.
True.
When I've heard that, and whoever's saying it, that's not true, because we're not that way. But I'm saying to mothers,
buy a meat. That'll do the trick. Yeah.
is teach your babies. Don't just leave it to the phones or to Facebook or to Google or to the school. You need to sit down and be able to sift through that information and sit down and have a real conversation with your baby and say, well, mommy, what is sex? And you're going to have to get some confidence and say, well, this is what it is. Because if you don't tell her, somebody else is going to give her a definition of what sex is. And so when you find her doing it, well, don't start looking at her like, get the stick out and start beating her. Like, but mom, you didn't tell me anything. How am I supposed to know?
Or you just didn't come up with it on things like HIV. Obviously, as Ugandans, it's prolific. A lot of people think that just because the world was shining on Uganda and everybody spoke about AIDS and HIV, it's gone down, it's disappeared. It hasn't. It's still there. It's still within the communities. It's still within the country, and it's. But what I need to ask is, have you got a message for mothers who want to have children, or those who have children that are living with HIV, or it's just more how they cope with living HIV as a mother, and how just ways of conducting themselves.
Sure. I remember on World AIDS Day, I had the opportunity. There was an event happening. Nancy put on this event, and it was professionals from within the medical professionals, doctors, experts on the subject came, and they were addressing this issue. And things have moved on so much in terms of medically. There's so many things out there that mothers can have access to, whether you're pregnant, to protect your child so that your child does not have it. Doesn't have it when they're born. So I'm not an expert in that regard, but there is a lot of information out there if you seek for the information. But one of the things that AIDS does is the stigma that mothers have to live with. Because again, before things have changed and moved on, I remember in Uganda when somebody found out they had AIDS, that was like, game over.
Death sentence.
That's it. You begin to get. But actually, things have changed, and people live on and live on and live on. But if you still have that kind of mindset that I'm going anyway, then that means some mothers feel like, well, what's the point of doing that? What's the point? What's the point? But I say to mothers, no. That's why actually such mothers definitely need to buy this book to become an empowered mother. That you need to teach your child and show your child that confidence, the things you need to teach them now, regardless of what you have. Whether you have AIDS, because in this case we're talking about having it. But one of the things that mothers in that situation have is the stigma. Is how do I live beyond the stigma? How do I live beyond this title? And I said, you know what? You're just a mom just like we are. The only difference is you have AIDS and we don't. So that means the responsibility of a mother has not changed. The only thing that is different in this equation is that this mother has AIDS, but she's still a mother. So the same thing, with the right medication and with the right care, that mother can still live a pretty much normal life. But for the sake of her children, especially for the sake of her children, she needs to become an empowered mother. That sometimes we have guilt, whether you have AIDS or you don't. But to be able, how do I deal with that guilt when that fear comes in that I could be living tomorrow, when that fear comes in, when I get a cold and I feel, could I be going today? Those kind of issues, being able to deal with those fears and getting rid of those guilt. One of the top covers in here, titles in here that I cover, one of the topics is getting rid of guilt. And that's something that will be really relevant to mothers out there who are living with AIDS. And I would just say to you, look, you're still a mom. This is just the time. You're still a mom, and you can
Definitely.
continue and take care of your baby. And that baby could be whatever it is that they were purposed to do. And you still have a big part to play. Don't ever let media or anybody tell you just because you have AIDS, you can't go on to be a great mom. You can be a great mom and go ahead and take care of your child. Just get a copy of my book to give as a tool to help you along the way.
Having an image of someone that you're giving it a message of empowering other black women or other women, and it's important. So when another black woman looks at it and goes, "Oh, my woman, this is our lady. She's got a book out. She's talking about being a mother. It's a general thing, and it's like why didn't she at least have a face of a black woman on there? So it can be more of an encouragement, because we all encourage people different ways. They might not take a message, but when they see images somewhere else, that can be of an. Because if I was to go, say for instance, I'm a Ugandan and I see a massive advert of it. I'll probably go, yeah, the presenter's going to be the person who's written the book is probably white. I know you've got Winnie Kitaka here, but she could be married to a black man, for instance, or someone who's not English. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration of having a main cover like this for your book?
Okay, let me try something on you.
Yeah.
When you look at that cover, that picture there, what do you see? What message do you get from there? Apart from the colour of the lady and the child.
I said it looks like a lady who's smiling and happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was doing when part of the process of getting the book done, when I got the guys who were designing covers, I said, look, present me with some covers, images.
Yeah.
So the images were presented to me, and immediately this to me is a mother who's happy, she's smiling, her child is happy. It's the image of an happy mother, an empowered mother. So for me, that stuck with me. And many images came, and even after that of, black and different minority mothers. But for me, this image, this is what I want every mother to be like, a happy mother with their baby. So for me, it was not so much the color, it was more the message of a happy mom with a baby, and that's how I came up with the cover. So there was no... But your point is, I get your point, because I've had this question from many of you out there.
Yeah,
I put it there because I love that image right there. It's an image of a happy mom who's...
Okay, I'm going to come, because I'm going to be what you call someone who's going to ask questions which people have asked, however they've not put it on film. Is it something I say maybe you had that image on there because she's white and maybe you sell more books? Or it appeals to white people, or it appeals to the general public, and when the white person looks at it, goes, "Oh, okay, because
I understand.
Because whether we like it or not, image is really, really important.
Absolutely.
And obviously, being black and in England, we've got lots of images of white people. And books and all sorts. And when we have a very talented young lady like yourself who has brought out a book, which is not easy, it's not an easy thing, you're promoting it. And however, you've got an image of a white lady. There is nothing wrong with that. We don't mind. But it's more it's more this the culture thing, the self belief, the feeling proud of being black, and I'm a black person. I'm promoting this book, and just to quell some of those. Yeah, what would you say about that?
Well, it's an interesting question, but I have no. One of the things again I've said earlier is, things are changing. And one of the things that we have as black people or Ugandans or black is, and I'm not from that school in the sense of, because we're black people and, it's not fair. I really don't want to get myself into that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
And I remember even growing up, I've always been, my philosophy has always been, nobody tells me no. And I'm not a statistic. So whether it's factual or it's true or it's a reality or not, one of the things I choose to do as a black mother or as a black woman or black person, and I teach to my children, is, this whole black thing and we're black. It's about me as a person. It's about them as a person. And regardless of the hurdles, whether those are minority hurdles or whether those are color issues, nothing is going to get in the way for me to achieve what I'm supposed to achieve. So yes, maybe it's a fact that yes, sometimes maybe this could be read as though you've put this on because black people don't sell. But there's a lot of black authors out there. But specifically to my message, I wanted a happy mom. And this was presented to me as a happy mom, and that's what I went for. And one thing I would say to Ugandans or to black people, and I say it to them, I've got two brothers, and I hear this a lot. Oh, the black. I think on Facebook, I've had people argue with me on Facebook. Oh, black this, black that. Every person has a purpose, regardless of your color. Okay, we're black. Every one of us has a purpose. Now, you can have a choose and say, do you know what? This is what I was called to do, to empower mothers, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. And nothing is going to get in my way. Because for me, what I don't want is to put tags on myself to say, oh, because of this, I'm not going to get this done. So I wanted to call upon my people is, let's not focus so much. And one of the reasons why I think as black people, this is me thinking, we focus so much on that issue instead of focusing on, do you know what? Okay, fine. This is what they're saying.
It's the message that's in the book. That's
focus on something else.
Yeah, I understand. We are going to leave this time. We don't want to dwell on it.
You don't get me started.
No, don't want to dwell on it. However, I do have to point out and say, image is really important. Absolutely. Everywhere you go, it's got an image of some sort. Everything. Sure. Name it, phone, cars. It's people. We all have images, and having something in your book, it tells something. And obviously, it's going to put it's going to put. Someone's going to think. It was for me. If I look at it, I'm probably going to look at it again, because I'm going to go. You've got a black lady who's put who's a writer and put a face of a white female on there. So I'm like, okay, why did she do that? So then maybe it's to provoke my thinking, and to ask me, and to just to make me think.
And also, I guess the other thing, it's also if you're talking about marketing and image and all of it, actually that question provokes a lot of thought, and that way gets people intrigued, and people ask me the question, and it gets them to talk about the book.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna go into the business world, if you're running a business, you need to come up with things. They say there's no such thing as bad publicity or whatever. But just the cover actually has provoked a lot of talk about the book.
Yeah.
So for me, if it's going to help me do that and bring more people and bring them, then I'll just take them back, just go beyond the page and go into the book. Yeah. So. I don't really dwell on the...
So are there images in the book of black women inside?
They're not images of anybody. They're images of positions on how to feed your baby, but it's, I really don't want to make it a black or a white book. It's the book, if you're a mother, this is the book for you. If you're Chinese, Indian, polka dot, black, blue, yellow, this is a book for you as long as you're a mom.
I should mention polka dot, what the hell is that?
It's just a phrase.
Yeah, talking to Winnie, the author of Mothers to Mother. Obviously, the last bit of our segment talking about the image of this book. However, the most important thing about this book is the information that's in the book. People, please, 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 let's go beyond this image and let's go into the book and get the meat that is in the book, so you can read and understand and take information. Because what is in this book is information. You need to have the information to read. And if you're a mother right there and you're thinking, I've got a child and my child is going, what do I do? My mother never told me how to breastfeed, or you're Ugandan and you don't have any sort of close family and friends, or you just want to get a little bit of advice, please get this book. It's going to help you. It's going to help you. Yeah, we need to know now, if somebody wanted to get this book, where can they get it from?
Sure. And just to kind of backtrack a little bit, when he talks about the image, have you had that saying where they say, which is quite offensive, but sometimes has maybe a truth to it, depends on who you are. When they say, if you want to hide anything from a black person, where do they say hide it?
Right in the book.
Hide it in the book. And, it's offensive in a way, but sometimes some people will look at the cover and say, I'm not going to read that. But you've missed the information. And so sometimes in our communities, sometimes we're kept back. Just don't judge a book by the cover, but let's get the information.
She's back on this cover thing. She's back on this cover thing.
Get the information. Because there's a lot of information out there that is encapsulated within a cover that you may not like. But the question I'll say to you, well, what information are you after? If you're after information on how to be a mother, look beyond the cover and just read the book. If you've read
I think for some people it's more the empowerment.
Sure.
Because I feel proud when I see you writing a book like this. I haven't written a book, so I'm like, well, it's awesome. There's a lot of people who want to write books, but they just haven't done it. It's on their computer. It's been there for years, but you've gone out and actually done it, and you're promoting it, and I'm 100% sure it's gonna go big. But what it comes down to is pride. And because for me, seeing a woman like yourself who's done something and you're successful,
Sure.
I also like to see that you're promoting our people.
Okay.
And because you're promoting because you're Ugandan as well. We don't have many. I'll be honest and say that there are Ugandan authors. However, Ugandan authors who are selling books within, say, Europe or the diaspora. You've got Ugandan authors in Uganda, and you do have Ugandan authors around the world. However, we don't know of them. It's important that we get to know these people so we can celebrate them or we can promote them. Because we don't know how to promote ourselves. We're very proud people, and and at the same time we're very selfish. It's like, these people, or one more question I wanted to ask you, and then we're done. Is do you find that obviously your book has been written as a general book for mothers, but I'm gonna go back to the culture part. You've got Baganda, you've got Banyankole, you've got Acholi, you've got all these different cultures and tribes and all sorts within our community. Do you find, I don't know how much research you've done, but do you find that the way they mother their children is different, or there's a common ground apart from giving birth and all that?
Yeah, it's bound to be different because based on their backgrounds or what their tribes believe or what their traditions are. Yeah. So there's bound to be a difference in the sense of what they will teach their children, how they will approach what they teach their children. Like for example, we talked about sex before, talking to your children about sex within, I'm not an expert within the Baganda thing, but one of the things, everything is kept quiet, it's hidden. So for a mother mothering from that tradition, they're going to mother, when it comes to that topic, they're going to do it slightly different, whereas maybe a mother from a different tribe where they talk about it openly may mother from a different angle. So there are those differences, and sometimes there are similarities as well.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've been tuned into Power Chat, and the guest on the discussion today has been Miss Winnie Kitaka. Are you Mrs. or?
Mrs. by the way. Mrs. married to one Francis Kitaka.
Okay, yeah. Mrs. Winnie Kitaka. She's a married woman with 4 children. Wow. I think you said from the ages of 9. 4.
7, 4, 3, and 14 months.
7, 4. Wow. I don't know whether it's possible in this day and age having more than 2 children. However, she's got. I've never met a lady who's got 9 children, and the oldest child is like 9 years old. She's literally had child year after year. Yeah, it is very true. It's very true. A black lady. Winnie, we need to now just give our audience where we can find your book, and if you've got any dates for any conference or workshops. That's it. That's the word.
Okay.
Workshops. Could you just let our guests know where we can find your books, workshops, Facebook, YouTube, anything where they can find this book? Please let them know.
Yeah, the book is currently it's published on Amazon. So wherever you are in the world, you can access Amazon. Just put in Winnie Kitaka or Empowering Mothers to Mother, and you can buy the book from Amazon. Currently, we're working on getting the book.
How much is the book?
The book. Last I checked today when I came in, the price ranges from £10 to £13 because sometimes Amazon does offers, and so sometimes you could go on there where it's £8 because there's an offer on. So it depends on when you go on. There are different offers.
So it's
on
between
the book.
between
£10 and £13.
Okay.
But on the occasion, sometimes it's £8. So if you're going there on that lucky day and it's £8, one thing I'd encourage mothers to do every time you buy the book and read, please leave a review because I want to know what mother think. That'd be great. And in terms of workshops, I have my next workshop coming up on the 5th of April. This will be in London at the Holiday Inn Express, Greenwich. This information, you can get this information from www.empoweringformothers.com. That's www.empoweringformothers.com.
Yeah, we'll have that information. We'll have it all.
I'm also on Facebook. Thank you to all of you who follow me on Facebook. Love you lots. The page is www.facebook.com/Winnie Kitaka. So if you're not yet a follower, what are you waiting for? Follow me on Facebook. And I also have a Twitter account. I'm on Instagram. Again, it's Winnie Kitaka. And I'll see you there.
This lady means business, people. She definitely does. Could you do us a favor and maybe you're Uganda, right?
I am.
Just give
This should be interesting.
a few words in Luganda to our possible Uganda watchers out in London or wherever they are in the world.
Okay, this is a good one. Banyaba never sebo. Amanya gange Winnie Kitaka nga babagambye. Nga bwe mbagamba mpandisa akatabo kano ka maama mwenna era mbakubiriza wenna gye muli oba oli mu America oba oli mu Uganda oba oli London weefunire akatabo kano era jangu ku workshop ojja kuweebwa omukisa mwebale nnyo okumpuliriza Winnie Kitaka or message me on Facebook.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any more frank than that. I'll give it to you as it is.
Fantastic. Winnie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're grateful to have you on the show. And long may it continue. Please write more books. We want authors to do films, to do novels, to do all sorts. Do you know what? Black people now are becoming a force to be reckoned with. We are waking up. We are waking up knowing that no one's going to hand us gold on a plate. We have to work for it. And we are waking up to that reality, and it is happening. It's only a matter of time before, what you're seeing would be, worldwide.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
We have what it takes.
Fantastic.
Okay. We have what it takes to do it. Let's do it.
Absolutely. See you on the next discussion. Goodbye.
Bye.
Right.